Our interview segment for today. And joining me in studio, Joy Brenda Basinde, Chairman of the Board at Kenya Power. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
It's nice to have you here. This is a first for us.
It's lovely to be here.
Well, the question for most people who've seen the developments today, and congratulations on the foundation, is why today, why now?
Thank you so much for having me. Kenya Power has been in existence for the last 102 years. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that the company does by default, because we are the largest power distributor, mm-hmm. is we do a lot of outreach into communities that are less developed, that are not yet reached by a lot of resources. And so we find ourselves not just providing power, but becoming an agent of change in many of these areas. Mm-hmm. And we thought to ourselves, you know what, maybe it is time we did this in a more formal, more structured manner, where resources can be dedicated in that direction, where we can intentionally develop education and talent that would also feed into our business, into our company, mm-hmm. and also look at ways of better climate and environmental control. So those are some of the things that made us think, you know what, maybe it is about time. Mm-hmm. The idea has been mooted for a while, but because of challenging business scenarios and other situations, we were unable to actualize it. But today we are grateful that we were able to do it, and we finally have mm-hmm. a Kenya Power Foundation.
Mm-hmm. When you look at the situation globally, many different organizations are now transitioning to reporting sustainability, working not just from a perspective of talking about what the foundation is doing, but literally looking at the whole equation, community, looking at environment, looking at impact on communities that you work within. What is the low-hanging fruit in this case?
For us, because almost by law and by default, mm-hmm. we have to be in every single part of Kenya. So our low-hanging fruit was already Kenya Power has a presence across the country. Mm-hmm. And so if we look at the areas that we already have a presence and look at the pressing needs of that community, it is easy to identify and to leverage and to take support to these areas. Mm-hmm. Then we're also in a position where we are multi-sectoral. We are not just distributing power. We are part of a sector of people who are transmitting power, who are generating power, and all these other players have Kenya Power as the customer-facing side of the energy sector. Mm-hmm. And so we are in prime position to interact with Wananchi and be able to deliver as much support to them as possible. Then there's also the issue that is facing all of us, mm-hmm. the issue of climate change and clean energy. So that's one thing. Kenya is not just a leader. It's not just a leader in the region. We're actually a leader in the world, because among the African nations, I think we're the leading nation. And we feel that Kenya Power is primed and is in prime position to showcase the country mm-hmm. as even a champion to make our environment better while doing it so profitably.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about the stakeholders, and in your speech you called on different stakeholders to come and work with, and you've talked about the people that you, the groups, the organizations that you work with in this sector. Where do you think the synergies are? What do you think is the sort of impact that you can have when you come together?
With us, we work with multinational organizations, mm-hmm. and then we work with local organizations. So, for example, one of the organizations we work with is, for example, Basigo. Mm-hmm. So they do electronic vehicles. Mm-hmm. If they donate, 2 electronic motorbikes, yes. we can find a chief somewhere who is in need of it, or a society where they're in need of. So we become the link between the partners that we have as well as the people who have all these needs. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, our business as it is geared towards CSR. There are places where we take electricity where, frankly, what we make from the community in terms of their power bills doesn't even cover the operation and maintenance costs. Mm-hmm. And so already the company is primed towards donating time, to donating energy and expertise. Mm-hmm. And so we have many partners who are happy to leverage with us, international partners who are also happy to leverage on this synergy. And we also have the local communities mm-hmm. ready to receive yes. this synergy. So, for example, what we have done with JICA yes. on the Last Mile project. So there are communities in Kenya who have never seen electricity, but courtesy of partnering with JICA have been able to. Mm-hmm. Now, if you formalize this, yes. have a more robust reporting system, separating it from the business so that in case the business is in upheaval, the foundation is a more stable and sure way of making sure your funds reach the intended recipients. Mm-hmm. We think it's a win-win suggestion.
Mm-hmm. In 30 seconds, 1% of after-tax profit. What if the company doesn't turn a profit? How do you continue financing this? How do you ensure that this is financed continually? Very briefly.
our promise is 30 million regardless. So we'll be donating 30 million every year as a company towards the foundation.
Minimum, yes.
Minimum. And if we turn a profit, then 1% of our after-tax profit, if it doesn't get to 30 million, we will up it to 30 million because that is our bare minimum. So the seed money will always come from Kenya Power.
Okay, thank you very much. Joy Brenda Masinde, Kenya Power's chairman of the board, for taking the time to talk to us. Well, with that interesting conversation there, we want to bring the business today, prime business here to a close. Of course, it has been a pleasure. Of course, looking forward to bring you this sort of conversations going into the future. But from us here, it is Kwaheria Konana. We'll see you same time again tomorrow. Up next is the sport.
From the sports desk, final junior starlet squad to Spain named. Details of this and other stories after the break.